Hello everyone, how are you? Today we're going to talk about how can we retire by the age of 21. This is a trick question because obviously it will depend on each person's necessities, in each person's income style, income trend, the kind of life they're accustomed to, the type of expenses that they have, and where do they start in terms of income level. If their parents can help them, if they already started with a family business, if they were working before they were 18, etc. It will depend on the situation entirely. But as a general idea, how can I retire by the age of 21? Well, the first thing would be to understand how can you retire based again in the type of life you want to live when you're retired. So the very first step would be to calculate your annual income with inflation. I would say you can have some countries with hyperinflation and you can have some countries without inflation entirely or negative inflation throughout the years. But in general, you have 2 to 3%, even 5%, even 8% of inflation each year per country. It will depend, of course, but this is a general idea. So what I would do would be depend the amount of income that I would need to have, the necessities that I need in my day-to-day life, and also taking account the expenses that I do not need, like taking vacations, some type of holiday gift season, if I want to have kids, if I want to have pets, if I want to invest later in life, if I want to create a business, etc. All of that, take into account all of your expenses and calculate your annual income. Then do it annually for about 25, I would say 25 to 40 years. Why do I say this? It's not like you're going to die in 25 or 50 years, but with inflation, and if you have it invested or if you have it in a high yield savings account, having the annual income that you calculated with a 2%, 3%, or 5% inflation annually by that amount of years, it gives you a safe amount for a safe withdrawal of maybe 4 times. So if you multiply it by 25, it will give you a safe withdrawal amount of about 4 times. Or if you multiply it by 50, it will give you a safe withdrawal amount of about 2 times. So just take into account that if you have that money, you're capitalizing it annually, you're having it in in a savings account, and with inflation, it just keeps getting a little higher and higher. So it will be generating some kind of interest as well. So I would recommend you not to do the whole math of what you would need to retire by 100 or by 80 years. I would do it until maybe 40. You can do it to 25, you can do it to 50, but maybe I would recommend an average of calculating your annual income plus inflation annually and multiplying it by 30, 40 years. After that, you would have to bring it to present time. So taking off the inflation with some finance math, taking away the interest to understand the amount of money you would need today to have that cash flow over the years. And I would really recommend that you would get it through investing, high volume, probably higher risk investments, because you're not going to get that amount of volume with just working that little amount of time or just saving that little amount of time. It would be really, really hard. It would have to mean that you have a pretty high income by the age of 20. And I don't think it's the general situation for a lot of people. So I would say that you would need to start investing by a young age, probably in intraday trading in the New York Stock Exchange. That's a high volume market, so you can win $1,000 profit margin in one day. So with this type of tendencies, with this type of fluctuation, you can actually make a lot of wealth in a short amount of time. Probably invest in properties, invest in something that will give you monthly incomes in the time of your retirement, such as buying a house to live for yourself and buying a bigger house for you to rent. So you have a higher rent that comes in as your income, and you have a lower rent as your expense. And that will just generate a little bit of margin for you to have in your retirement. So it's obviously not an easy task, and it will depend on you generating the amount of money that you would need to retire in your young years, but it's definitely not impossible. It's definitely possible if you invest in, again, fluctuating high risk markets, but it's high risk, and you should definitely do this by studying a lot, studying the market, studying methods of investing such as Pristine, studying all of the opportunities, and also dedicating a lot of effort and time to doing these activities every day until you're 21. Nothing comes easy, except if you have a trust fund or a family business that you get at the age of 20. But it will take a lot of effort and a lot of learning for you to actually be able to retire at the age of 21. But I wish you all the best of luck.